Some people will say that this will work fine for communities that are not exactly in the city, you know, not in the heart of Imo State, so to speak. Or how does it work in major townships or, you know, the city itself? Say, for instance, Owerri.
Well, if within Owerri, you have a traditional ruler within Owerri. Within Lagos, in Isaloko, you have an urban in Lagos. It can work anywhere. In every city, there is a history to the city. So there are people who actually own the city. There are people who are very proud about that city, who wouldn't want you to bring the name of the city, try the name of the city to mud. But beyond that, most of the communities, most of the crimes that happen in the city are actually organized and arranged from the communities outside the city. And that is not the basic fact, and one of the things we have discovered. So at the end of the day, if you are able to arrest the criminals and you're able to identify the criminals that come from the hinterlands to operate within the city, you'll have inadvertently solve the problem of security in the city.
Yeah, but, you know, these baby factories, as they were called, some of them were also hospitals, in quote.
Beautiful.
You know, so how does that model work?
Yeah, it was the model that demystified the whole arrangement. It was the model that exposed the workings of the baby factories. Some of them were in the cities, but some of them also were in not too much into the cities. Some of them also were owned by people who don't live in the cities, but who live somewhere in the rural areas. People started identifying the people and begin to ask questions, what does this woman do? If you run a hospital, we know the average, on the average, we know how rich, we know how successful a hospital should be. They begin to ask us questions, and they begin to see the kind of visitors or guests that come to them and begin to deal with them. So the people in the community begin to raise questions about the woman's or the man's source of livelihood. Mm-hmm. People in the community begin to raise questions. Oh, my ward went to the hospital with pregnancy but came out without any baby. It's not this intelligence information. The police can confirm that to you.
Okay, now
that provided the lead for unmasking of the baby factories wherever they are located.
That is one. But what also, because one would say that this works both ways, what will propel a young woman, for instance, to want to get pregnant and then sell her baby,
sure,
you know, shortly after birth to unknown people, only and simply because of money? Are you also doing any sort of soft education to enlighten young women about, you know, the dangers of doing things like that?
Sure. Education is like, giving education is like solving the symptoms. I would say we went beyond the symptoms. We went to the cause and tried to resolve the cause. So that even as you're trying to solve the symptoms of those who are still persisting, you won't have new ones coming up. Mm-hmm. What are the causes? Poverty. Lack of access to education. And the fact that the people who do this, they do this with impunity. Nobody had been confronting them before. So we started by confronting them, by providing a mechanism, a system, a structure, an institution, enabled an institution, the security institution, our own local security network, and of course the traditional national security network. They worked in synergy and were able, through the intelligence I've told you about, were able to begin to unmask them. But providing free education, which is the one that we are also very proud of, and that is only where it's happening in the whole of Africa. I hear one or two states are now beginning to think about doing it. The form of free education we do in Imo State, and I know you can bear me witness, at least it was confirmed by the Guild of Editors who visited Imo State recently, is even a higher model of what we witnessed in the days of that legend by Obafemi Awolowo. Because in Imo State, education is free from primary, secondary, to university level. And that is not even all. In addition to doing this, we provide lockers, we provide desks, we provide canvases, we provide uniforms.
When you say education is free, what does that mean? There's no tuition whatsoever?
In all ramifications. Education is free in Imo State in all ramifications by whatever definition you want to give to it. And if you may wish, I'll give you the breakdown, just like I was doing before. You don't pay tuition. In primary school level, at the primary school and secondary school level, or primary school level, we'll give you canvases, we'll give you stockings, we'll buy them shirts, that's the uniform, we'll provide them lockers, we'll provide them desks, and we'll go further. You may not believe this. We also give stipends, what you call allowances,
You know,
pocket money to
see,
students periodically.
You say I will not believe it. I will believe it because
Yeah, because it's unusual. It's
just a
not
moment,
it's something that is so unusual. They thought it was impossible in Nigeria
just
before.
a moment. You know, I do remember that particular report where I think it was sometime last year or 2 years ago, where we did see the governor visiting schools and distributing the stipends by
Sure.
himself.
Right.
You know, and we had to question whether the money was for a day or a week or for a month.
Okay.
But we understand that the money was for a month, and you know, we had to ask what exactly does. Has it been increased? Is it 100 naira, 150 naira? What does it do, really?
Well, let me start by saying this. If you saw the governor doing that, he was launching it. He may be commissioning it. The governor could not have gone through all the schools.
Of course, we do know that.
So he was
yes.
kind of commissioning or
Yes.
launching it. Now, we have a system of distributing that money to all the students. Like I said, it may not be big money to you, but if you know the level of poverty that exists within our rural areas,
Could you
particularly
kindly confirm the money to me again?
500 naira, 200 naira per person.
500 naira to who and who? Because I do know that the money is supposed to be given to primary and secondary school
To
children.
students.
Yes.
To students.
To students generally, but they get different amounts.
Yes,
Primary
sure.
school children get
500.
different from
Beautiful.
Secondary.
500, 200.
500 naira
200.
to primary school,
Not to secondary school.
to secondary school,
Yes, 200 to children
200 naira to
Sure.
children per
person, per student.
month.
Yes, periodically, but usually per month. But let me explain to you. You are looking at 500 naira because you are in this edifying place, earning some very fat salary. You are used to driving in Mercedes Lexus. You are used to flying and paying 40,000 naira for business class. There is poverty. There are women.
I do not know the assumption.
I'm coming.
I
There
don't
are
know
women.
where you got those
There
assumptions
are
from.
women
But
in the rural
I really
areas.
do wish that you wouldn't exaggerate like that.
No, but let me
You
explain
know,
to you. There
yes.
are women in the rural areas whose total capital outlay for the business they are doing is no more than 2,000 naira. A woman, for instance, in the village that sells vegetable ugu, a woman in the village that buys fruits and sells on the table, the woman that sells granite by the street of Wedra Road in Owerri or by the Tetlow Junction. Check her total capital outlay is no more than 2,000 naira. We have a story of a woman that had 5 children in school. At a particular payment period, the 5 students came back with 2,500 naira, and the woman has started a business that is blossoming today. But the money is not necessarily for capital, setting up capital. It's to encourage students that there is something beyond going to school that will attract them and make them to go to school.
Mr. Ekechi, I'm not trying to say that the Imo State government is not doing well.
No, you can't say that. I know you
education.
won't.
That
Yeah, sure.
is definitely not
Sure, I
my
know you
line of
won't.
argument.
Sure.
But then, you know, one has to ask what exactly is the purpose of the stipend that the students are getting. If it's for feeding, because some states government now say that their children don't get to eat. Some of them are so poor they cannot afford to, you know, buy food before they come to school, and
You're
as
right,
such,
you're
the
right.
levels of concentration in school is affected, and so they have taken it upon themselves to ensure that these children get proper nutrition while they're in school, and they know as a state government just how much it costs them. So if you say that you have decided not to take that burden on yourself, but to monetize what it is that you intend to give the students, one would have to ask,
How can that?
exactly, what exactly
Sure.
will 200 naira per month
Sure.
do for the feeding of any child?
No, we have not gotten to that level. Or we have not even talked. We are not claiming that we feed the children. We are not gotten to that level. The items I have enumerated for you are the things we are doing for the free education in Imo State. Perhaps if we become more buoyant, we may begin to provide them food, and it's not even outside the plan of the government. But that money I mentioned is like it's symbolic. It's something a student can look forward to, so that even students who are not encouraged to go to school, students who ordinarily wouldn't want to go to school, and their parents are asking them to go to school,
is this
it
Parliament
encourages
jumping?
them.